Yo, happy Friday, Labor Day weekend, 2024. We're gonna be making some Techno tonight in Cubase. But if you're not using Cubase, you can still learn quite a bit. Not really sure what direction I'm going. Got a 909 here. Not a real one. Used to, don't anymore. I'm using the Dramazon one here. It's fantastic. I know there's a new one. I haven't bought it yet. Got a kick here, 142. It's like that. Let's add some hats, although first I want to set all of these, make sure that these are going to the right buses. This is snare, so put that to the claps and snares bus. I'm gonna go down one, that's clap, put that to the claps and snares bus. Go down another one, that's the hats, put that to the hats bus. Go down one more, that's ride. Make that, I typically put the ride on the hats bus as well. That works. One other thing I'm going to do is I am going to create a sub-bass bus, add a track, group track, right over here. Make sure it's set to mix bus out. I don't mix into my stereo bus. I mean, my stereo out, I like to mix it to a mix bus. It gives me more headroom control. I'm going to name this sub-bass. Yep, add track. There we go. Now we have a sub-bass bus. I had an issue earlier with my browser. That seems to be working right. All right, let's make a bass line. So today I'm just going to use these. They're basically lows, like low elements. They're just noises that have probably, had the high end filtered out of them. So, things like that. Although I normally like shorter things. So these two would be great. So I'll just grab these two. Actually, you know what? I need to make a track first. So I'm going to collapse all these buses. I don't need them here. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to add a track, audio track. I'm going to name it sub bass. And make sure that it's routed into the sub bass bus. There we go. Click OK. Now I'm going to grab this. All right. Put that over here. Then I like that one too. Why not? Put this one just randomly over here. Now, I typically like to work in 2-beat loops. So what I will do is just kind of randomly slide these things around. So I'm going to set this at like a 128 so I have more control. I don't want to set this obviously like right on top of this kick because it's just going to be they're going to cancel each other out. You either won't hear the bass or you won't hear the kick. So, that's two ways to look at it. And then I'm going to do something about like that. Now, first off, what I'm going to do, hit the edit window on this sub bass channel. I'm going to lower the gain negative 12 dB. If you watched me before, if you see this video, long time in the future, you'll always hear me talking about pulling samples and VSTs down negative 12 because people who make sample packs want their samples to sound the best, so they maximize them out, basically just below like 0. So when you start adding multiple instances of samples that are that loud, then immediately you're over 0. So I like to give myself some headroom here. That way I'm also not overdriving my plugins immediately. Now what I'm going to use here, I think I'm going to use, I'll just use a regular compressor, the Cubase regular compressor. For a sidechain, I definitely want to sidechain this. I will set the source as the kick bus, and then that's to activate sidechain right here. Always turn off makeup gain. I'm going to turn the release down because I want it to react fast. Turn the ratio up, and then here's your slider here. Now, I don't know what this is going to sound like. It may sound like garbage, but we will play with this and see how it sounds. So this needs to go I need to cut this. Probably something like that. Delete that tail. That's pretty good. Now, when you, I'm gonna solo this. When you cut something like that, I think there's, you hear that pop. Easy way to get rid of it is just grab this little triangle that pops up. You can also set it to cut on 0 or snap to 0, something like that, to where it'll never leave that pop. But I'm gonna mess with the sidechain here. Now, I'm going to look for something else to go in here, too. That's kind of cool. I may want to put that on a different track, so I'm going to duplicate this track here. So now I have 2 bass lines. I'm going to delete these here, and I'm going to come over to this compressor, because when you duplicate a track in Cubase, the sidechain compressor will not have the sidechain source selected. So kick bus. All right, so what I would like to do, I like the punchiness of that sample, so I might want to bring it over here, but I may want to take some of that top end out. So I'm going to use the EQ to pull some top end out, pull the volume down, just kind of mix it in. Should be over here. Maybe I don't like that. Go to this mix bus and set up my filter. There we go. All right. Add a hat in here. Let's add some hats. I'm gonna go 16th note hats, and then I'll adjust the velocity on these things. I've got this set to a swing, so I can't just throw in one and then Control D it out, because they're different lengths and they won't end up right. Once again, I need to turn the volume down on that, so negative 12 dB on these hats, because even coming out of VSTs, it's like way too hot. 12 dB. So this definitely needs to move. Another thing I'll do sometimes too is I will use a time stretch and just stretch them out really long. Move this around a little bit. Maybe drag this back a little bit. I'm kind of digging that. There's macro controls for the Amazon over here, so if you hear the hi-hat opening up, I'm doing it over here. Yeah, that's awesome. hats. Let's go to... Just want a nice room reverb here. One thing I want to do is adjust the velocity of these. So typically I want to bring up the one that's on the 8th note, gives that swing like that, and then I will kind of randomly move these around a little bit. I typically like the first hat to be up pretty high too. That gives you a cool kind of feel. Awesome. I may filter this out also. I think I'm going to use a dual filter on this. One thing you may notice that I do a lot when I'm adding, say, inserts, obviously if I'm doing a sidechain compressor inserted, I will insert it towards the end of the chain because I want everything that I put before it to be sidechained. But I will typically leave one open at the end of pre-fader, and these two are post-fader. And then a lot of the times when I start bringing in inserts, I won't go to the first one, and most of the time I won't go to the second one either. I'll start here, and that's just because if I end up like setting up a bunch of effects, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, I really want to put a, what do you call it, just some other effect in the front of the chain, then I have to move all these down. And so if you just leave yourself space, then it makes it a lot easier. So I'm gonna try the dual filter here, and I'm just trying it because it's native to Cubase. See if I like that. I'm gonna try some distortion before it. May not use it at all. Let's try the Destroyer. It's also native to Cubase. I really don't think it needs any distortion. No effect. I'm gonna save this real fast. Save as. I'll call it Labor Day. All right. What do we want now? Anybody got a suggestion here? We got kick, bass line, some hats. How about let's find a tribal loop. I haven't done anything that's kind of tribally in a while. I really should just use the media bay, I think. Where's the media bay? There it is, media bay. Alright. Backup, complete sample library. There we go. As you can see, I have a bunch of torrent sample packs here. Don't tell on me. Where is it? There was like an Uber Shawl House Essential. I think that's got a bunch of tribal stuff on it. Yeah. See what's in here. This really does not look like this is working properly. I don't know what's going on, but my browser seems to be, my media browser just seems to be super slow right now. Shaw House. There we go. Give a sec. There we go. You probably can't see this because I think my camera's in front of it. There's a volume thing down here. So what you can do is you can start playing. And you can audition these samples to the beat. I may try that. That there was, I think, a kind of a shaker one of a few samples before that. Seems pretty cool. It's kind of fun. I don't know if I want to go too fun. I'm going to set this to, I'm adding a track here for it. I'm going to set it to the loops bus. Let's just type in tribal loop, I guess. Tribal drums, because those were pretty heavy. And then I'm going to hit the edit, and before I put it in, I'm going to take it down negative 12 dB. And let's just drag it over here. And then I typically like to bring the volume down because you never know how loud something's going to be before you audition it. So I'm just... I've got it set to 16th notes. I'm going to set this to regular 16th notes. And I'll just kind of start moving it around. Better. I'm going to try that there. I'm going to duplicate this track, delete that sample. I'm going to go back to the same spot as that was, I don't know if that's going to work at all. It's kind of cool though. I like that. That's pretty cool. I'm going to add a sidechain EQ to this, and so this is different from a sidechain compressor, and it's essentially because it's sidechaining an EQ instead. What that does is it will take out the kick. The kick, which I'm going to use as a trigger, will take out whatever frequency that you want. And so I'm going to use it to take out the low end, just because I feel that this tribal loop has a little bit of punch right on top of the kick that I don't want interfering. So just type in frequency. If you have Cubase, frequency is a great included plugin. You click on the number 1 over here, and then you can go to single instead of multi, and it flies out this panel. It gives you more options, and then turn on dynamics, turn off auto on the sidechain side, set sidechain source to 1. Then come up here, choose the source, just the kick bus. I have all my kicks every time I, have more than one kick. Sometimes I'll have 3 or 4. They'll all go through the kick bus, so I know that no matter what kick is being used at the time, it will trigger the sidechain. So that's to activate the sidechain. Then come over here. Typically, my kicks are right around 50 hertz, so I will bring this down like this. Now, right now, it's not doing anything, but you can watch what'll happen. If I start bringing this down, you can see it's taking that low frequency out. So now it's cleared it up. So now my kick is still nice and pretty much pristine because nothing's getting in the way of it. I'm digging this. I think these 909 hats need a little more. A little more volume in them. Yeah, right about there. You just barely hear them clicking back there. I'm really digging that a lot. If you hear the bass come out of the track, I have a filter mapped to my MIDI controller here just so I can play with it like a DJ would. Yeah, I really like that. The sub bass, I can get rid of that sub bass. I like to keep my screen here and my tracks really clean. So I try to get rid of empty spaces as well. We won't now. Let's do a stab, but I'm not going to sample a stab. Let's just make a stab. So I'm going to add an instrument here. I'm going to call up the Jupiter 8V. Put that in the synth bus. Make buses, people. I'll call it Jupe. Make buses. Let's see. I'm gonna go to brass. Brass. Sorry, brass. I am also going to turn this down negative 12 dB. 12 dB. There we go. And we'll bring this back up. Where are we? Jupiter. So. Yeah, I love this one. You can tell it's got my name in the back of it. That's the way I named it. It's such a great stab. Okay, so all I did was just play in a chord like that, and then I will go ahead and edit it. There you go. I'm going to drag them all to the same length. Then I'll kind of listen to what it sounds like, where it's placed, and I'll just move it around. It probably, I think I want to put it right at the very 1/16th after the kick. Let's see what this sounds like. Maybe not. Man, at this point, I can just cut this thing and move it around. I think it needs to be like right here. Here. Do some processing of this. Gonna want some reverb. May want to throw in a sidechain EQ, but probably, well, yeah, it's got some pretty good low end on it, so that's just to be safe. Sidechain EQ is great because it can protect your other sounds without giving you that, you know, like big, like swooshing, sucking sidechain sound, because it keeps the top end. So you're not getting that, you know, that thing. This way, you can still keep your low end clean without that obvious side chaining sound, which I think, like me, most people are getting sick of that noise. So this is how you activate it, and I don't know if you saw, I added my side chain source, which is the kick bus. I always do that. That's how you activate it. Come over here, drag this to about 50 because that's where my kicks normally are. Bring that down, bring the dynamics down, and you won't see anything happening because the kick's not going, but if I solo the kick, you can see what it's doing there. Now I'm going to pull up some of this 1K and just kind of sweep around. I probably want something like that. So I'm going to some of this. Maybe some of 7K is nice too. Solo this. I want to add some reverb to it. The preset has some reverb on it, so I think I'll leave that, but it's not bad. I'm gonna add some delay to it. Something simple here. I don't want a ping pong. I think I'll just try the mono delay. It's pretty simple. Turn the mix down. Turn the feedback down. That's not bad. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I wanted. I got going on with this. Okay, that's it. Okay, so if I want to filter it, I can just filter it on the Jupiter itself. I think what I want to do is maybe add a compressor to this, or like the L2 leveling amplifier. I can find it. I always forget what the damn thing's named. I'm gonna just try this 1176. That's pretty much exactly what I wanted. Just some presence. Yeah, helps it cut through the mix. Try to tame this low end a little bit. I don't want it to get too crazy. And everything sounded nice and clear though. Alright, at this point, what I like to do is, again, I like to keep things clean. So what you see here is you see a two beat loop. And I like to fill these things in, and to do that I will just take my pencil and I'll come over here to this box. It's set to 16 now, and I'll click there. It'll make an empty space there, and I'll come to the front there, and you can even come over here, click there, and I'll click here and click there, and I will choose my glue. I will select everything and glue it all together. Then I'll take my scissors and I will cut, 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 and then delete these. So now I have, you know, full, I don't even know what you call these things, but these boxes are full. If you start copying things out and you're not positive that they stop and start right, you know, on the grid line, then you start copying them out like further down the track, then they can either become short, and then so they start essentially speeding up, or they can come long and essentially, you know, the beats are getting slower because it's, you know, more time in between beats. So I always do this about this time. I'm not anywhere near finished working on this sketch, but I like to keep things clean. I think it needs like a ride, but I don't want to use a 909 ride. I want to use something kind of like maybe like an 808 type, like really like high pitch, like instead of, you know, the typical 909 ride. I don't even know where I would have something like that. I guess I'll go looking. Under drums is probably a good place to look if it'll open. Hey, all right. It's thinking. It's thinking. TR-808. Now, it may just be like the TR-808 open hat, because that's really cool too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a track for it, add audio track. I'm going to put this on, I'll put it in the hats bus, and then I will name it 808 Ride. Let's just call it Ride. Actually, the 808 Ride's pretty badass too. Do I have it here? Man, my computer is not liking this. That was just for a snare. Alright, but let me look for a hat. Sure, let's try that one. Why not? I don't want to risk it and have this thing just blow up on me here. So for a ride type hat that I'm going to put on an 8th note, this thing is huge, right? But what I will do is I will bring it over, I will step it, I'll just place it, the front of it right where the 8th note is, and then I will go over one full beat and cut it, right? And then I'll take this, I'll highlight this, Control D that. Actually, you know what? To do this, I really need to have this in a 4-beat loop. There we go. And then I will Control D this, Control D that. Then I will cut this part and drag it to the front. Glue all these together. You can see how loud that thing is. That's nuts. I'm going to turn the gain down on it. Minus 12 dB. Pull, you know, some of this low end out, and let's just mix it in, see how it sounds. Okay, that is what I'm looking for. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that sidechain EQ, but I'm going to do it on the top end up here. So this time I'm going to come over to, let's try 7 there, hit single, turn on dynamics, turn off auto, select sidechain source, come over here, and then put on the kick bus, turn on sidechain. We're on 7, right? Kind of so. Yeah, that's cool. I don't know if you can hear that. There's a sound in there that I just don't like. It's kind of a weird resonant sound. It's over in my left ear. And it sounds to me like it's a mixture of both of these together. Girl. I don't know if that fixed that or not. Sounds like it took out too much. I don't think it was on this. I think it was on the one above it. Let me tighten this cue up a little bit. Anyways, right there. Yeah, it's better. Okay. Now, I'm going to play with this loops bus. I like that. That's cool. I'm going to add this saturator to it. Not sure that it needs one, but I'm gonna give it a try anyway. It's got an out pad, so it's got like it's got input trim, which is input gain, and it's got output pad, I guess. Kind of like it a little dirtier. Some of the bass out there. Bring this up a little bit. I'm going to pan this a little bit to the right. These are pretty stereo. I'm just checking stereo image now. I like to use a stereo combine panner. I don't know if you guys know about that. Yeah, I like that. I'm just trying to give everything their own little space, so I will just a little bit off center. Check. I think that's pretty damn good. What are we at? 45 minutes. That's not bad for 45 minutes. I like this track a lot. I think I'm going to call that a beginning. And I'm going to take a quick break, and I will be back in about 20 minutes. Click save.